If you have £10,000, what would you do with that money? There's so many people out there, if they've got £10,000, they're thinking about going on holiday, buying an expensive car, or maybe renting an expensive apartment, or maybe just gifting it away, or basically going into more debt by buying nice cars, putting that £10,000 to get them a nice car. So there's so many people that will be thinking about that. Right? If you're smart, instead of thinking about buying consumable goods, you will look in how you can invest that money to make that money makes you a millionaire. Basically, in this video, I'm going to share how to invest £10,000 and become a millionaire. Right? I've been doing this. This is the strategy I used to start my property investment journey from zero to building a multi-million pound property investment portfolio. So again, I'm going to share with you the exact step you can use this £10,000 to make you a millionaire. Stay with me so that you watch the video until the end for you to be able to grasp exactly what the formula is or what the concept is that would allow you to use that £10,000 you've got today to make you a millionaire. If you like this video or any of my videos, don't forget to hit the like button below. Subscribe to my YouTube channel for more of these amazing tutorials. Okay, instead of wasting the £10,000 away by going on holiday or spending it in buying expensive cars, you can instead invest it. Okay, if you've got that £10,000, you want to invest it as a smart investment. But before we get going, I would like to define what investment is. What is an investment? An investment is an asset or item acquired with the goal of generating income or appreciation. But what's appreciation? Appreciation is referred to an increase in value of an asset over time. I buy an asset and then it goes up in value in future years. When someone purchases a good as an investment, the intent is not to consume the good, but rather use it in the future to create wealth. Basically, that's the formula of what investment is and what capital appreciation is. So again, if you know this formula, you understand this formula. This is the formula successful people use. This is the formula millionaires and billionaires use to create the financial fortress. Say now you've got £10,000. You've saved £10,000. You've got this £10,000. I won't say save, you store this £10,000, you've got this £10,000. Because obviously saving it in the bank doesn't do you any good. I think the interest rate right now is about 0.1% or maybe even 0.5%. So it doesn't really do you any good to have that money saved in the bank. If you had it saved, actually, you're effectively losing money. Because as you know, inflation is about 11% right now. And if the bank is paying in less than 1%, you are effectively making loss in your £10,000. Suppose then you have an option either to invest in stock market, right? It could get you appreciation, but there's no cash flow in it with that £10,000 because as you know, most companies do not pay you that much dividend that would allow you to have that passive income that you're really interested in getting. So let's share what the rich people do. The rich people follow a specific rule. What they do basically, the money they get, they find an asset that they could invest in, and they find an investment they could invest in. Rich people invest in assets like whether it's small, big, they could even invest in a vending machine, buy houses or office buildings, because what they want basically, they want to invest once and then should they have passive residual income their lifetime. So these are the formula successful people do. The things to consider to make £10,000 becomes £1 million basically. The number one thing is to pay your expensive debt. Pay your expensive debt. The quicker you do it, the better for you. Let me give you a quick example on what are the differences basically for paying your expensive debt, and actually the debts are not that expensive, you would rather invest it. So let's get to the board so I can go through this with you. Right. Suppose a few months ago, you took a credit card debt, right? And the credit card debt you took, the interest you pay on that credit card debt, let's say it's 25%, right? And that's option A. And you got another option basically where you saw an investment and that investment really need you to put £10,000 down and then you get about maybe 10% return on your investment. In this example, you can see then the interest you're paying here is more than the 10% interest you would have get from investing that £10,000 back. So in this example, if your 10K debt is costing you 25%, you have net loss of 10%. So in this example, it makes sense to pay your credit card because it's way too expensive for you to be able to make that investment viable to you. right? Let's take another example. Option A, right? Suppose you have an investment, £10,000 investment, where you could invest that money. It gives you a return of 25%, right? 25% return on your investment with that £10,000. And option B, you have your student loan to pay. Yeah, your student loan to pay. Maybe your student loan costs you about, let's say 4%, right? You can now see here, instead of paying your 10K on your student loan, it's better to actually invest the 10K to get the 25% return on your investment, because with that 10K, you're left with 21% net profit. Right? So basically that's what you would do in that situation. So if the debt is expensive, try to pay it first. If it's not expensive, what you do then, if it's 4%, for example, that debt costs you, and you can invest that £10,000 here to generate 25% return on your investment, it sounds better to do it that way, because that means you're making a net gain of 21%. Again, these are the things successful people do. These are the things what the rich people do, basically, because they want to make sure whatever investment they are making is making them a lot return on their investment. Let's take it in a different angle now. Let's suppose that you've got this £10,000. Instead of doing any other investment, basically, you're going to go and buy a house. Okay, we're going to go and buy a house with that £10,000, and let's now see what that £10,000 will get us. In the UK, some lenders could lend you 10% of the actual value of the property, right? Some could lend 5%. Again, if you got a good mortgage broker, there are lenders out there that will lend you 5 to 10% of the actual value of the property. Let's give an example. Let's say then we're interested in investing now. Instead of taking that £10,000, invest it in stock and shares, cryptos, and we do not know what the future holds with those sort of investment. We can go and invest in property. Suppose we got a property that worth 150K, right? And we went to the bank. We found ourselves a bank that would allow us to buy that property by only putting 5% down, okay? So what that means, basically, your deposit would be £7,500, okay? Assuming that we're taking this loan on an interest-only mortgage and we're not going to be repaying that mortgage back. Let's say now you live in that house, you bought it as a residential property, and you bought that property, you live in the property for 2 years, and then what you do, you convert that property into buy to let, yeah, or you ask for a consent to allow you to let that property out. So the remaining 3 years, instead of living in the property, you're going to move away, right, and rent that property out. And then that same property then would generate you £400 net profit per month, right? So what you could do then, basically, what you could basically do with that then, you hold on to that property, right? You rent the property out. You're making £400 every month, right? If we times that then by the remaining 3 years, so 400 times 3 years, that same property that you've invested £7,500 would generate you about £14,400 for the 3 years. So that's net cash flow as well. Okay, so what would have happened during that time? During these 5 years, if you have bought this property prices would have gone up. In average, property prices has gone up by 7.5% in the past 80 years. So in this example, and let's just assume then this £150,000 property we've bought has gone up by 7.5% every single year. Okay, so with that then 150K times the 7.5%, that would be a capital appreciation of £11,250. Times that by the 5 years, that same property bought £150,000 is now worth £206,250. So that house you bought for £50,000 is now worth that amount. So you would have generated a total equity of £56,250. This is just in equity. This is equity you've generated only because you've held on to that property and you're renting it out. During that process also, you would have made a rental income of £14,400, right? So if you add that up, then that gives you a total income of £70,650. So it's £70,650 you would have made. You would have made your rent, 14,400, right? The capital appreciation for the 5 years, and that gives us a total of 7,650. So you would have made 70,650 in one property, right? So what you then do then basically, instead of wasting that money, you're gonna go and buy 3 more properties, okay? Suppose we went away, look for £100,000 property. We saw a property for 100,000. We negotiated it at 20% below market value. And then what we then do basically, we bought that property at £80,000, right? £80,000 we would have put down in that property, then we would have put down 20,000. And that 20,000, because we've got 70K, we can buy 3 properties. 20, 20, and 20. That gives us the 60,000. And the remaining £10,600, we could use that for our stamp duty, legal costs and all that sort of thing to get the property to the standard we want it so that we will be able to let it, okay? And what we then do, we hold those 3 properties for 2 years, right? We hold those 3 properties for 2 years, okay? So what would have happened, our first property is now worth 206,250, right? That's our first property. The first property we bought as a residential and we converted it into buy-to-let, right? It's now worth 206,000 during that period. And then the extra 2 years, it would have gone up by £31,000. Okay? And now the 3 properties we bought for £80,000 at 20% below market value, right? Those properties then would have worth, assuming that property prices went up by 7.5% every year, those 3 properties would have gone up by 7.5 times 3 properties, right? Times 2 years. Those properties would have gone up by £45,000, right? Because it would have gone up by 7.5% every year, right? That's 7,500 times the 3 properties times 2 years, that's £45,000. And again, that's just in capital appreciation. If you add that up, that would have made you a capital appreciation of £76,000. Okay, £76,000, that's what those 4 properties would have accumulated you. Again, this is the formula successful people use. They buy the property, hold it, remortgage it, and then obviously re-let it, and then pull that investment out to move to another one. So we've got that capital appreciation here. Our rental income would have been for the 3 properties. Our rental income for the 3 properties would have been basically our first property, net profit of £400 times 2 years. It would have generated us £9,600. Okay, the 3 properties we bought, again, £400 times 3 properties times 3 years. Those properties would have generated us £28,800. So if you add that up, that would have been a net profit throughout those years of £38,400. So you've got your cash flow, £38,400, and we have our capital appreciation of 76,000. So if you add those up, that then gives you a net income you would have generated from those properties of £114,400. That you would have made a net cash flow of 38,400, right? And capital appreciation, 76,000. Okay, if you add those up, that gives you £114,400 income you would have received from your 4 investment properties. So what you then do again, you don't go out there and go and buy expensive cars, go and upgrade yourself with nice flats, etc., etc. You use that money, then you reinvest, and that money can allow you to go and buy 5 more houses. But let's look at the net, let's look at the capital, how much our property is worth now, okay? The first property, as we said, right, is now worth, fast forward five years, that property is now worth 238K, okay? And the 3 properties you bought is now worth £116,000 each. Times that by 3 properties, they're worth 347K. 347K. So your net, your total asset, you're now worth 585K. And that is within 5 years. And you've got a net profit, a net cash flow of £38,400. Right. So instead of spending that money, you can go then and buy 5 more properties. Right? If you go and buy 5 more properties, that will then take you to 9 properties. Imagine now, right, inflation would have gone up. Obviously, you won't rent the same property for £400 every single month for the past five years, because you're smart and very clever investor. You would have been increasing rent throughout those periods. Let's assume out of those nine properties now, we are making £500 net profit per month. So if you times that by 9 properties times 12 months, you are on £54,000 a year. And this is passive income. This is passive. You don't have to do anything to actually generate that money. So this is the thing successful people do. What they do, they buy asset that gives them residual income whilst appreciating value. And at that point, your property portfolio, adding those 5 properties up, your property portfolio will worth £1,085,000. You have a property portfolio of £1,085,000 and a net cash flow of £54,000 in less than 10 years. This is how you would make £10,000 become £1 million. I've used this strategy. I've been implementing it. That's what gets me from getting 0 property to building a multi-million-pound property investment portfolio. And you could do exactly the same thing. Instead of wasting that £10,000 on a holiday, on an expensive car, or renting an expensive flat, you can use this formula to actually get you to start your property investment journey. Once you start making your £54,000 a year, £54,000 a year with a property portfolio of 1.85 million, basically you can buy the dream home you want. You can buy an amazing house now. You can upgrade your life. You can buy the car you want to buy, because what happens basically, you are able to buy a couple of properties or even 3 properties every single year. In some occasions, you can even buy 5 properties every single year, because obviously the properties will start looking after themselves, and then obviously they will start appreciating in value, whilst the tenant will be paying you your rent every single month as well. You will live the life you've always dreamed of. You'll be able to give back to charities. You're able to create your own charity organization. You're able to do whatever you want to do, because obviously you've got that money coming in without you getting involved, without you doing the hard work, because basically you're making money whilst you sleep. If you like this video or any of my videos, don't forget to hit the like button below. Subscribe to my channel for more of these amazing tutorials. And also, I'm running a free strategy call. If you're ever interested in learning how to implement strategies like this, or how you can start and scale your property investment journey from 0 to building whatever portfolio you want to build, book me in for a strategy call. It's completely free. You don't have to pay anything for it. Basically, just to ring me, talk to me, tell me about your investment plan, and then see how I may be able to help you. Thank you so much for listening. I look forward to sharing the next video.